Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I bought this rather beautiful but very sad, broken rose quartz cherry blossom tree, which I'm going to be cleaning and fixing up. As you can see, the little feet are all snapped, and I've taken some masking tape and just attached the feet and secured them a wee bit. I'm using the 1.57mm wire, and I've got about 65 centimeters. So all I'm doing is finding the center part of it, so which is about there, and collapsing that inward. So I'm just using a pair of pliers to squash it as small as I can get it. Well, not too small, because I wanted to have a little bit of a foot on it. And then I've measured the distance of how far I want the foot to stick out. So for myself personally, because this tree is quite a large one, it's not extremely large, I'm going with a 6 centimeter size. So I'm just measuring 6 centimeters and then bending the wire. That's actually 5.5 centimeters, and then bending the wire outward on both sides. So we've got our piece like that. And then you're just going to bend 5 of them the same way. So taking the tape measure, I'm using a dressmaking tape measure. It's easier for me to work with on the wire. Put the pliers at the 5.5 center and bend the wire inward. And then the same on the other side. So now your piece looks like that. Now taking the wires again and bending each of the wires outward to create the same foot. So just holding the pliers like that, and then bending that one out. So now we've got the 3 of them done. And now you're going to do another 2 until you've got a star. Just do it in exactly the same way. So you've got your 5 pieces like that, and then you've got the wires over here which cross over. So these 2. Now I'm just taking them and bending them upward on both of them, because that's the piece that I'm going to actually be using. I'm going to take and just wind around the base of the tree so that it attaches to the tree. And now I've got some 0.9mm wire, which I'm going to be using to attach the star to it. So what I've done is I've wound the 0.9 around the top of the tree, and then I've just gone round each of the roots so that this is attached completely. And now I'm going to cover that. To bulk up the roots, I'm using some toilet paper and some masking tape, and all I'm doing is just making it a little bit thicker so that it's about the thickness of what the roots are on the tree. So something like that. And then I'm just going to take the masking tape and attach it. and then just do all of them the same way. This one has got quite a chunk taken out of it, so I'm taking my toilet paper and bulking it up at the bottom like that, so that that piece lines up. So I've got a smooth transition there. I've covered all the wire and the roots, and now my tree is standing and it's not falling over if I touch it. So now I'm going to be using some plaster of Paris bandage to finish it off and then paint it. I'm using this plaster cloth wrap, and it works much better if you use warm water. Now, because the wrap is quite large, I'm going to be cutting it into manageable strips. So I'm going to cut this into 3 strips, and I'll be cutting them about 20 centimeters long. I only put 1 strip in at a time. And then just do all of your feet the same way. Once you've done all your feet, then it's time to do the top part. I'm just taking some extra pieces because I want to make the roots not quite so straight, so I'm just putting it at the bottom and then flipping it upward and making a big chunk to just sit on the top, just so that it's not a regular shape, so that it's a bit chunky like that. Because I want there to be some gaps in the roots, I'm taking some aluminium foil and I'm just going to insert it into some of the places that I want to raise up. So on this particular root, I don't think you'll see this, I want a bit of a gap so that the root is going up like that. Once you're happy with it, just put that aside to dry. To paint my tree trunk, I'm going to be using cadmium yellow hue, Mars black, titanium white, and deep red. You can just use raw umber if you want, so I'm going to be mixing colours. Because for myself personally, I don't really like the beige colour that the tree is done in, so I'm going to be painting it in a darker brown. So I've just poured a wee bit of the colours out, and now I'm going to just blend some of the colours together to give me like different shades of a brown. then I've got a bit some white to make a lighter colour where the highlights. That's pretty much the colours that I'm going to be painting my tree trunk. It's a bit difficult for me to show you what I'm doing because of all the blossoms on the tree, but I'm just mixing the different colours together, so a little bit of the darker one and then a little bit of the lighter one, so that it's got slightly different textures to it. And then just do the whole tree like that. So painting the bottom of the tree is a little bit easier to see, so I'm just mixing all the colours to get slightly different shades here and there. So I've got the reds and the yellows, and then I'm just blending them all together, and a bit of the black, and then just cover the whole tree like that. I finished painting my tree trunk. As you can see, the roots are all standing up, and that's what it looks like. So it's looking a little bit more like a tree trunk, and I spent a long time taking all the dust off all the little blossoms and hundreds of Q-tips to get it all beautiful and clean, and that's what my cherry blossom is looking like now, all ready to put in its position on my counter. So there's my beautiful cherry blossom tree in its position on my counter.